Hi everybody, my name's Shane Lambert. I'm choosing to do it in this kind of sketch mode for two reasons. One, my face kind of looks tired and I'm kind of vain, so I don't want a tired face. I'd rather hide behind this kind of animation here. And two, my room is messy, but if I go like that, I'm not actually, I think that would be Paris. Yeah, I'm not actually in Paris. The camera's pointed at my messy bed, which the camera interprets as I've actually been to where it's pointing. I forget the Arc of the Triumph or something like that, right? But I'm here talking about my novel. It's called The Suit and the Backpack. Part one is subtitled Down and Out in the Canadian Rockies. I'm doing a little bit of a self-promotion here. It's a novel that I started writing in 2013. I did publish it back in, I believe, 2014 on Amazon, just self-publication. Um, I had trouble getting a lot of readers, but the ones who read it and reviewed it gave me 5 stars, so I got a few of those. Um, I wanted to improve upon it. I know that might sound funny if I had good reviews back then. The reason I wanted to improve upon it was, you know, I only had 3 reviews, I think. So, if it's not perfect, somebody who's more critical, maybe I got a little bit lucky, would have maybe pointed out some mistakes. And I felt like I wanted to take it to a higher level. And I feel like I've done that now. I'm not saying I've worked on it for 9 years, 10 years, but from start, when I first decided to start actively working on it was 2013. I just published it here in March of 2022. Um, sometimes I set it aside for 6 months and didn't even look at it. But it's a 204-page novel on Amazon Kindle. You can follow me at Uncool Negated on Twitter if you want to learn about the free promotional days. Um, what it's about is a young man in his kind of mid to late 20s decides to give up his life. He decides he's not gonna climb the corporate ladder. He's gonna do something a little more interesting, and that's for better or worse. He wants to travel internationally. He's never done it before. Um, so he looks to balance his new desire for adventure with the reality that he's got to work for a little while. He takes a resort town job in the Canadian Rockies. Um, this is actually like me to an extent. Um, I write in the first person, but it is fiction. I'll explain that here. My life isn't as depicted in that novel. I've lived in Jasper, I've lived in Banff, I've lived in Tofino, I've lived in Nordegg, and I've lived in Port Renfrew, all in kind of these resort town settings, working in hospitality jobs, and living in staff accommodation. That's what all those jobs have in common. Um, I kind of condensed all my experiences into Jasper, and my novel is kind of anecdotal and first person fiction. I draw upon some memories, but my memory's not perfect. Um, there's nobody else in the novel that's anything but superficial. Like, and my main character, even though I write in the first person in a memoir style, um, he's not like me in some very critical ways. For example, he has no family, no siblings, and his parents are dead. When I started writing the novel, my parents were dead, but one has passed on since. But what I tried to do with the novel is just represent a resort town from a worker's perspective. So you might like it if you're politically progressive, kind of a labor kind of point of view. I don't go overboard on that. I mean, but it's there, kind of a progressive kind of politics position, where you're critical of employers taking advantage of their employees in unfair ways, like non-payment of wages, trying to avoid time and a half, trying to avoid vacation pay. pardon me, evade those things. Avoid is a different word. But if you've ever been in a scenario where you worked a 10-hour shift and should have got paid at overtime wages for a couple hours and had an employer that didn't put it on your paycheck until you fought for it, those kind of issues are in there. And I represent a resort town from somebody who lives in staff accommodation. And I think one thing that's really unique about my novel is it's about hardship and perseverance, but there are a lot of novels like that, and a lot of them have to do with persevering through poverty. You see that in Down and Out in Paris and France. No, Paris and London. Paris and France. London and Paris, I forget. But George Orwell novel. Angela's Ashes. There's loads of novels that are about suffering in poverty because there's no jobs or you can't find good pay. My novel is kind of like, what's it like when there's too much work? What's it like when you're working a 60-hour work week and your coworkers who you rely on for support are just dropping like flies, and you go home and you're still in staff accommodation. So what's it like to live in that kind of atmosphere? Because by my memory, that's what it was like the summer that I worked in Jasper. And I explain a lot of that in the novel as to what caused it. But there's unique hardships. It's having a job that has too many hours. The point can be made. It beats having a real problem. But I still felt that it was something that should be represented in fiction. And I hope you like it. I hope you give it a try. I'm an indie author at the moment with maybe dreams of signing on with a publisher if things get going. But I feel like I have to at least get some kind of ball rolling on my own. You don't have to pay for it. If you do, it's just $3. If you don't want to pay for it, then you got to follow my tweets, and I'll speak about the free promotions that I can allow from time to time. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you give it a try, and you can even ask me some questions if you want at my Twitter handle. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.